All right. So the first question that we want to go with is, do you do a weekly cadence at the departmental level? And then how do you find time to hold these meetings for the yard or sales counter?
So the department level meetings were a little bit more difficult to achieve buy-in for everybody that works at Badger than the leadership team meeting. We actually do the department level meetings every 2 weeks, and we have stripped down the L10 format a little bit depending on which department it is, and they're working great right now. But we hope to eventually build up to a more proper L10 format in a weekly meeting with each department. And we are very. It's difficult to get those departments together. Like it's hard to pick a time during the week where every single delivery driver in your entire organization is there in the office to have a meeting. So our sales team knows that, hey, on Tuesdays, don't schedule a delivery before 9 o'clock in the morning. Because first thing Tuesday morning, the drivers are going to have their meeting. And we the rest of the meetings are pretty easily achieved. The facility operations team, the guys who are unloading and loading customers in the yard, or stacking scaffolding and moving equipment around. Those guys, we just had the maintenance department come in and cover their spot for the hour that it takes, vice versa. So when the mechanics meet, we'll have the facilities operation guys, go and cover their spot, for whatever mechanic wise may have to happen during that hour. And we have found unforeseen benefit with this whole thing, in that everybody has gained kind of a better appreciation of the other department's job through this, because they've now sat in their seat for an hour at a time 4 or 5 times now. So we've seen an added benefit from that also.
Yeah, that's a good benefit. And
yeah,
this is always a challenge, rolling out to lower levels in the organization. Mm-hmm. And a couple of things you touched on. We'll modify the agenda and always shorten it, down to an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
The important thing is that the people on those teams feel like they have a time where they can come raise their issues and work together to solve issues. And at first they might be, oh no, I don't want a meeting. But again, kind of like the leadership team, they'll almost always get that buy-in.
Yeah, and we have found that at the very beginning, it was a challenge to get our guys to bring issues to the meeting, because they at first seen it as kind of like, well, I don't want to complain, or I don't want to, cause any trouble. But as soon as they connected the fact that, hey, listen, the issues list is there for me to get the things that are holding me back from doing a better job gone, to kind of clear the path for me to do a better job and to be more successful in my position, then the issues started to come, and we really got a chance to have, all those issues squashed with the departments. And it was, but the issues component of the department level L10 meetings were a challenge, and the scorecard for the department level meetings, continue to be a challenge, but we're getting closer every day.
Yeah, good stuff.
Are there any items on your scorecard that you track that you didn't expect to be tracking, or that surprised you, that are valuable?
Yeah, so there are a couple of different items on the leadership level scorecard that we just kind of bumped into that really provide us with insight. One example of that is we track how many deliveries are made by mechanics every week. So the only reason that a mechanic is going to be out on a delivery means that every other delivery driver that we have is already out, in the field making a delivery. And, we look at that and we say, hey, listen, we don't want a week where there's no deliveries by mechanics, because that means we probably had too many delivery drivers, with not enough deliveries. But in the same sense, we don't want 15 deliveries by a mechanic in a single week, because, well, that probably means that we don't have enough delivery drivers. So we look at this metric, deliveries by mechanic, and we say, hey, listen, if we have 5 to 15 deliveries by a mechanic every week, that that's an acceptable range. That means we don't have too many delivery drivers, and but we still have enough to get it done. So there are lots of metrics like that we look at that we didn't anticipate being important, but they always point to something else more significant.
So that is the first time, and maybe it's just me, that I've heard of that metric. How did you come up with that metric?
Really smart business partner of mine made it up. Yep. We just, we know that when things are really busy, the shop suffers because we're pulling the mechanics out of the bays to go make a delivery. And it's a constant source of frustration that, hey, listen, when business really turns up, and we got all these deliveries to make, equipment's coming in and out faster, but we don't have the mechanics to be back there checking it out because they're on the road in a pickup truck, dragging an air compressor. Well, through some conversation and working that issue, we really said, well, hey, why don't we watch it? Why don't we measure it every week? Let's just stick it on there and try. And it turned out to be a really important metric for us.
So it sounds like it started out as a rock.
Well, it started out as an issue.
An issue. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so, Dale, our maintenance supervisor, put it on the issues list because, every time we got busy, the facilities operation team was dragging his mechanics in a pickup truck, and we just we worked through the issue. We IDS the issue. Brett, can you share a little bit about what IDS is and how we use it inside of an L10 meeting?
Yeah, and so back up a little. Almost everything in the U.S. starts life as an issue. It gets on the issue list, and we work that. We identify. IDS stands for Identify, Discuss, Solve. Identify means that before we try to run this to ground, we get to the root of the issue, not the surface issue, but we push for the root of the issue. Then we have a short discussion, and because if you've gotten to the root of the issue, you don't need a real long discussion. And then we solve a 1 to 2 week specific, this is what's going to get it done. And that solve can take different forms. It could be, we're going to go execute on this, or you might say, our solve is to put it on the scorecard and let's track it. In this case, that's become a very important metric. And it also just, draws to light that so much of this process is iterative. We don't go in a room and come out with a perfect solution. Yep. We go in a room, we come out with frameworks, and as we work those over time, we get them really dialed in.
Yeah, so our scorecard at our leadership team level and at most of the department levels now don't look anything like they did when we first started. And when we first started, we really felt a lot of pressure to create the perfect scorecard. And, we looking back at it now, we really should have just put some stuff up there, looked at it for 2 or 3 weeks and then decided, hey, listen, is this really providing us with that valuable forward-looking indicator information that we wanted, or should we change it out for something else or just drop it? So we really put a lot of pressure on ourselves at the beginning to get it perfect. And, we all know that's not going to happen.
What do you do about metrics that are very important, but for whatever reason in your business, they're consistently good? So I've been to your location before, and I know how clean and well operated it is. And so while some people, safety hazards, for example, might be really, really high up on their list, something they need to track and fix, I could almost see it being something that hits your list, and then you just stop tracking it because it's never a problem. That being said, if it ever was a problem, it would be a really big issue. So how would you address something like that? Would you allow it to fall off because you're always doing it well, but if it turned into an issue, put it on there? Or how does stuff like that work out?
I would think that if it is an important enough issue like safety, and we're consistently knocking it out of the park in a way that it really doesn't merit a spot on the leadership team scorecard, maybe it could get pushed down into a department and then broken apart into a few different different metrics that could give them some better information than just, hey, are we doing this great? Yeah, we still are. Let's move on. Maybe there's some better or different information that would be more meaningful in a department level meeting that would, be more valuable to the company.
Brett, do you have any thoughts from your experience on that?
Who, me?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things now. Safety, is something you never want to lose sight of. But you take some things like
example too. But
I'm sorry.
It said safety is probably not the best example.
Yeah. But take some sales metrics, quality, speed. Those are ones where a lot of times they remain critical, and so we gradually raise the bar. We don't want to set people up to fail, but if we have a sales target of 30 sales calls per week, and we're consistently hitting that, we'll gradually raise the bar because we want to keep on growing as an organization. So we'll raise them until such point that they become just a no-brainer. And if they're a no-brainer and they're not risky, we will remove them at that point.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we are right up against our time limit here. Thank you both so much for joining us. I've learned some stuff today. I'm sure the people who have attended today have learned a lot too. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to discuss it. And Garrett, sharing your specific examples, I think is really meaningful to a lot of other rental companies. So I really appreciate that. So thanks again, guys, and everybody else who attended. And we'll talk to everybody soon.
Thank y'all very much.
Thanks.